Topping today's news, 2 people found dead following a plane crash on Ragged Island. The number of murders in the country now standing at 99 after a man was shot and killed on Saturday. Consumer Protection fined food stores, pharmacies, and beauty supply stores selling outdated products. And the Bahamas set to receive 500-year-old Lucayan bones from a museum in the United States. I'm Jerino Saunders. This is your JCN Evening News, and it's a pleasure to have you join us. After the Consumer Protection Commission, CPC, received an increase in complaints this year about outdated food items on store shelves, Senator Randy Roll, executive chairman of the CPC, announced that over the weekend, inspectors would visit a number of food stores to identify breaches. Well, inspectors visited a total of 14 stores, and apparently some store owners didn't hear the warning, or they did not care, because Senator Roll says nearly half of them, the grocers especially, visited were found to have violations.
We conducted inspections of over 14 food stores and groceries in response to a significant number of consumer complaints. Alarmingly, nearly half of these grocers were found to have violated some form of consumer protection standards. One major issue we discovered was the lack of clear labeling of baked goods and fruits regarding their best buy dates. Consumers should never have to guess whether products is still safe to eat. If stores chose to reduce prices based on these dates, this information should be displayed to avoid confusion.
Besides food stores, Senator Roll said a few cosmetic stores and pharmacies are also in breach of selling expired medication.
Beyond grocery stores, we observed that some over-the-counter medication in drugstores were outdated, which also poses a health risk. To address these violations, we intend to leverage existing laws to compel retailers to improve their practices. We are also recommending to government through our minister to establish fixed penalties, creating a more straightforward process for imposing fines on those who violate these standards.
The Consumer Protection Commission collected a total of $117,000 from service providers over the last year and will continue to inspect grocers, beauty supply stores, hardware stores, and courier companies, noting that some of these merchants have been getting laxed. Police are investigating the circumstances surrounding an aircraft that crashed on Ragged Island on Sunday. Initial reports indicate that shortly before 5 a.m., police on the island were notified of the incident, which occurred east of the Duncantown Airport. Police, along with officers from OPAT and the DEU out of the United States, responded and discovered the downed twin-engine aircraft engulfed in flames and totally destroyed. 2 people are confirmed dead in that crash as their charred remains were discovered among the debris. Police are also investigating the country's latest homicide, which took place on Saturday around 4 p.m. on West End Avenue between Market Street and Blue Hill Road, that's in the Coconut Grove community. A second male victim in that shooting incident is in hospital receiving medical treatment. Police say the 2 men, along with a group of people, were standing in the parking lot of a church when 2 males exited a dark-colored Japanese vehicle that had turned around and opened fire in their direction, striking both males multiple times. Both victims are said to be in their early 20s. Also, around noon on Saturday, a 25-year-old male was shot while sitting in his vehicle on Willow Street in Pinewood Gardens. Police say 2 individuals exited a dark-colored Japanese vehicle armed with firearms, approaching the victim, who sustained multiple gunshot wounds to his upper and lower body. The victim is in hospital in critical condition. The homicide count now stands at 99 for the year. Last year, it was 110. Today, the Bahamas National Statistical Institute, BNSI, released data from the first and second quarterly annual labor force survey for 2024 as a part of the Public Financial Management or Performance Monitoring Reform Project funded by the Inter-American Development Bank in 2016. Narissa Gibson, Managing Director of BNSI, shared the overall mission of the initiative while highlighting some of the findings for the first quarter of the year.
It was the government's objective to strengthen the country's statistical capacity to produce high-quality, timely, reliable, and disaggregated data to support effective policy and decision-making. In the first quarter of 2024, which is the period of January to March, there were 213,585 employed persons, a decrease of less than 1% when compared to fourth quarter 2023. The occupational group of professional science and engineering professionals had the highest number of persons working in the area for which they were trained. Similarly, the community, social, and personal services industrial group employed the highest percentage of persons who had specific training for their current jobs. The unemployment rate for the first quarter of 2024 was 8.7%, a decline of 1.2%.
Cipriana Winters, Assistant Director with responsibility for the Labor Force Survey, outlined findings from the second quarterly estimates of 2024 while explaining some of the major factors affecting the data that was compiled.
Second quarter of 2024, that's the period April to May, there were 210,000 employed persons in the country. The occupational group of professional science and engineering professionals had the highest number of persons working in the area for which they were trained. Similarly, the community, social, and personal services industrial group employed the highest percentage of persons who had specific training for their current job. The unemployment rate remained unchanged at 8.7%. With a CV of 8.1%.
Well, the males are more likely to find easier to find work, and so they will go and do carpentry or do some construction work, while females will be kind of careful what we do.
Director Winters noted that all of the data has not been disseminated due to some technical difficulties, but advised residents that all results will be available online by the end of the day today. And finally, in this segment, after yet another homicide in his constituency, the Member of Parliament for St. Barnabas and Deputy Leader of the Free National Movement, Shannon Cartwright, is calling for a parliamentary select committee on crime. In addition to a man being shot while sitting in his vehicle on Willow Street in Pinewood Gardens on Saturday, two men were also shot. We just told you about it. They were shot on West End Avenue, just 1 block away from Mr. Cartwright's Market Street headquarters, where one of them died. The other one remains in hospital. Mr. Cartwright said the government has a duty to lead an aggressive, determined coalition of efforts to address ailments that have continued to fuel the crime epidemic. In the meantime, the government has launched the second phase of its crime plan, dubbed Clear, Hold, and Build. There is a 6 p.m. town hall meeting in Angliston, in the Angliston community, but we understand this is a closed meeting. It'll be at one of the local churches where the government's strategy, they will discuss it further with the folks in Angliston, where the second phase was officially launched last week, Monday. You're listening to JCN News. We'll take a break here. We'll be right back after these commercials.